So today, we are breaking down a really powerful philosophy called the lion attitude. And look, this is less about the actual animal and way more about his strategic way of looking at life. Let's dive right in.
Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds completely backwards, right? When you picture a lion, you think of pure, raw power, brute force. But the whole idea we're exploring today kicks off with this fascinating concept. A lion's real edge isn't just its muscle. No, it's something way, way deeper than that.
So, where does it all start? Well, the absolute foundation, the bedrock of this entire philosophy, is making a conscious, active choice to be fearless. And that's not about pretending fear doesn't exist. It's about refusing to let it call the shots.
And there it is. That's the core instruction. It's a command, really, to put yourself in a state of mind where you are the one in charge of your world, not just a victim of whatever happens in it. And this leads us to a really powerful distinction.
What's so interesting here is the clear choice it lays out. On one side, you have the goat, which kind of symbolizes a victim mentality, something that is always being acted upon. But on the other side, you have the lion, the one who decides its own fate. According to this way of thinking, the very first step is asking yourself, are you going to be the prey or are you going to be the predator?
All right, let's build on that. Once you've established that fearlessness, what comes next? See, it's not just about charging headfirst into every single challenge. It's about being smart.
And this brings us right back to that very first slide. A lion doesn't win just by being strong. It wins by using its head. It watches, it plans, it waits for the perfect moment. So this intellect we're talking about, it's all about strategic thinking and just plain mental toughness. And this just nails the point, doesn't it? This whole attitude isn't about making a bunch of noise or showing off how powerful you are. Nope. It's about being efficient, being effective. It's that quiet confidence that comes from knowing you've got a plan and you know exactly how to execute it. Okay, so we've got fearlessness and we've got intellect. The third piece of the puzzle is something internal, something that really dictates how you deal with the world around you, self-respect. You could even call it dignity.
Let's really unpack that for a second. A lion knows its own worth, its own level. It plays by its own rules, and what that means is it refuses to lower its standards or get tangled up in fights that are just beneath it, no matter what the circumstances are.
And this builds on that idea of dignity perfectly. I mean, think about it. How much time and energy do we all waste responding to petty comments or silly distractions? The lion attitude just says, don't. A lion doesn't get dragged into pointless arguments. It keeps moving forward, laser-focused on its own path, and just lets all that noise fade away.
So, you've got this internal mix of fearlessness, intellect, and dignity. Let's see how that combination creates this incredible impact on the outside world. It's not about being aggressive all the time. It's about having a certain presence.
The source paints a really clear picture for us here. The moment the lion's commanding presence is gone, chaos just erupts. All the lesser forces, the dogs, so to speak, they take over and just create a mess. It shows you that the lion's very existence keeps everything in balance. So, what does it take to get things back in order? Not some long, drawn-out battle, not a whole series of attacks. All it takes is just one. And there it is, the punchline. That single, powerful assertion of presence is all it takes to remind everybody what real power looks like. It's a perfect example of how one well-timed, confident action is so much more effective than 1,000 empty threats. Okay, so what happens when you pull all of these pieces together? You've got fearlessness, you've got strategic intellect, this deep self-respect, and this impactful presence. Will you arrive at the final and maybe the most important mindset of the lion attitude? This is the question we're left with. And before we get to the answer, just think about it for a second. Based on everything we've talked about, how would you even define losing? Is it about a single failed attempt, or is it more of a state of mind? And here it is, the final crucial point. The lion attitude is basically a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you believe in your own invincibility, not out of arrogance, but as a core part of who you are, it literally shapes your reality. It doesn't mean you'll never have setbacks. Of course not. It means that, deep down, you fundamentally believe you cannot be defeated. And that, right there, is the ultimate takeaway from this whole powerful philosophy.